Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Radlett. You join us on the back of a minute's silence here in Hertfordshire for the sad loss of Sid Lawrence yesterday, a legend of Gloucestershire cricket, but a legend of cricket, full stop. A very well-respected, very popular, and a very kind human being who sadly passed away yesterday. And our thoughts, of course, with his family and with Gloucestershire cricket, who are the visitors here today at Radlett for this fixture, which Middlesex will be looking to bounce back from defeat against Glamorgan themselves last week. 2 matches so far for Gloucestershire, the fixture anomalies, meaning that they're not quite up to the same number of games as the rest in the group, so looking to get their campaign kick-started really. Middlesex 3 from their 4, but that defeat at Glamorgan last week bringing to an end the winning run to begin with. Let me take you through the team sheet for this one here. As you can see, Middlesex batting first, and it's going to be Routledge and Trussler to head out to the middle to open up. There was a slight doubt on the team sheet for this one, but can confirm that the Middlesex team, having won the toss and elected to bat, are Routledge, Trussler, Sproul, Hawley, Pindoria, Kibler will keep, Patel, Davis, Disanaiki and Pearson. So Downer drops out of this one. As for Gloucestershire, there Willis, Kant, Story, Geach, Reddy, Naheem, Dolman, Belcher, Daniels, Phillips and Bird. Just making sure I can count to 11 on those as well, because we're actually given the squad in front of me here. We'll have that team on the scoreboard for you in a few moments though, but nearly ready to get up and running here at Radlett. Bowling's going to be open from the Saltersfield end. Dolman to get us up and running then here with a slip in place, I can tell you. So it will be Routledge to have strike. Slip in place, backward points, almost a short third really. Deep point, cover, extra cover and a mid-off, mid-on. Deep square and short fine leg. And a bit of swing and an edge and a boundary to begin. So Middlesex up and running, but there's some big shape on that for Dolman though.
Yeah, a huge amount of movement there. I wonder if when we take another look at that, we'll just see the huge amount of movement away from the right-hander there. It's going to be quite difficult. It is quite blustery here as well, so that's another thing for the players to deal with, these sort of random gusts of wind that will be sweeping across this very open field here at Radlett. But a good start from Middlesex so far. They'll take that.
Oh, lifts. Well, Radlett's renowned for the extra bit of bite that you can get in the surface as a seamer, extra bit of bounce, and clearly on display there. Smile from Routledge.
Yeah, she's not a particularly quick seamer, and I think that would have taken Routledge a little bit by surprise, just how much that kicked up.
Full bunger. Beautifully driven. Now, once it's down the slope here, it's usually away, and it is. The slope being from the middle. The middle's on a mound here at Radlett. So the square itself is a mound. As soon as you get it past the infield, it's generally 4.
Still a huge amount of shape on that ball, going like into and then away from the right hander. It's a lovely shape, and if she can get it right, it might be quite difficult to deal with.
Nicely pushed up to mid-on.
Don't worry, that's fine. I'll just do it again.
Shape again, but starting wide, it gets through. Cut will bring a single. Swept up out there on the rope. I'll make Melissa Story out, sweeping up on the boundary. Might be in to join us in the chase, should she not be in the middle at that point. First ball for Trussler. It's well bowled, it's well played as well though. Back foot just working the single, shape on it again from Dolman. Certainly a little bit on offer out there for the quicker bowlers. It's the end of the opening over here at Radlett. Middlesex winning the toss. They're 10 without loss. I'm Kevin Hands, alongside me for this one, Sonia Twig.
Yeah, it's good to see Middlesex getting off to a good start. I think you'll always take 10 from the first over, even if a couple of them were a little bit streaky, the outside edge off the first ball in particular, but good runs, and you'll only settle into this contest as it continues. I know from speaking to a couple of people that Gloucestershire have a lot of bowlers in this squad, so we could see quite a few different actions and variations from their different ones.
But it'll be from the pavilion end to get going, so they've gone seam at both ends, whether it would have been a spinner opening in the power play. But Radlett renowned as a seamer's surface, but that does mean that it will generally spin as well. So bird it is, Trussler on strike. Bit of shape through the air, but a full bunger and put away. Starting wide. Trussler making no mistake whatsoever.
That was beautiful, just perfectly timed that. Didn't overhit it, just pushed it through the vacant gap there, and as the ball races down the hill, there's not much you can do to stop it.
Just threatened out the hand that it was going to really start to boom in. It did not. Now, there's that in-swing. I'm surprised there wasn't an appeal on that, I must say.
Can we see it front under?
If we just take another look at that, I think it was going down. Yes, it clips the outside of her pad, but it was definitely worth an appeal, that's for sure.
Well, you can see leg stump. I'd have been screaming, absolutely screaming.
Can we have a look at the over?
I would have appealed if it was me.
I'd still be appealing now, I think. We'll have a look at it again at the end of the over. There was a lot of swing on it though, so the angle may have adjusted. Now, what's upsetting? We can't quite see. It's out of shot for us, but something's going on. Somebody's walking around behind the bowler. Width again, punished. Goodness me, that's crisply struck.
She's played that so nicely today, and that's another one just piercing the gap in the offside. I think that was a little bit full. Yeah, a little bit wide and a little bit full, and just open the face up on that and guide it through the gap between point and cover.
Well, that ball before they clearly thought was swinging down the leg side. It thumped onto that pad. Relieved smile. We emerged with the ball pretty quickly there. We've seen so many games heavily delayed here at Radlett because the bushes that surround this ground to trap the ball. And now backed up. Yes, so it'll just be the one. Just waiting to see whether runs were signalled. Well, whether leg byes were signalled, but there was a little bit of bat. Should nothing happen on this ball. Do you have from behind? Both. There's that swing again. Well played, nicely bowls. And push back a dot ball to end the over. 9 off it though, good over for Middlesex. 19 without loss after 2. I think we're going to have a look at those. Well, certainly the first one that thumped onto the pad. Just watch the leg stump on impact.
You can see half of leg stump, I think.
Well, there's the, yeah, actually, you know, on that angle you can see the trajectory of it, the release. This was the one that was the leg by, was the run, so a little inside edge, but again.
She is wandering across her stumps and getting dragged into that big sort of hooping in swing there, and now they've got to deal with a way swing from the other end.
Had there not have been bat involved, I think I'd have been appealing the second one as well, though, although I'd have accepted not out on the second one. The first one for me, though, still I reckon it had a chance. My greatest surprise that there just wasn't an appeal. But there is a lot of swing, and again, having looked at that first one from behind for the first time now, perhaps that delivery was wider on the crease than I realised. Oh, now look at that. Wide signal, but goodness me, that has swung sharply. It looked as though it was going to be a huge wide down the leg side.
Yeah, that one just came back such a long way. It almost grazed the stumps there. There was so much movement on offer.
Now that starts wide. It's a half volley and it's put away. Trussler's eyes lighting up.
I think Gloucestershire, when they've got it right, it's been really difficult, but there's just been too many loose deliveries. That one was almost an overcorrection from the last one. I think she's worried about how far leg side she's strayed, and that one was just too far outside off stump, and with that width, it's just... And the way we've been seeing Trussler play, it's just so easy for her.
And then short and wide. Cut for the single. But that's closer to where Dolman would want to be, though. There or thereabouts.
Not quite as short, I think, but the right sort of line. You want to be really making them deal with the swing rather than giving them time to sort of go, well, it's wide, so I can go for it even with the swings that she's getting.
It holds its line. Yeah, it's a blast the pads off kind of day here at Radlett, isn't it? Extreme temperatures the last few days in the UK. Still there today, but anybody who might be watching from overseas, to give you an idea, it's 27, 28 today, and we're all feeling as though it's mercifully cool. Now that's come back in. Did she just roll the fingers on that? Would be interesting, because it felt like it did that off the surface.
I wonder if we can take another look at that, just to see if she did. Yeah, she did just roll her fingers on it a little bit, just a little leg cutter there. I did see it and wondered it was a little bit slower.
Oh, that comes back in again. She changed the wrist position. There you go. There's the absolute confirmation, as if we needed it, from Trussler. That one came sharply back in, but...
There's another cutter there, but quite short, and that one just got the extra lift that we were talking about just before, that just kicked up a little bit off the surface there. Quite short still, but just jagged back, and there's nothing you can do as a batter there when you're so cramped for room.
26 without loss after 3. Good start for Middlesex, but there's certainly plenty out there for Gloucestershire. That's better. It's really good from Bird. That movement in that she's getting, that's where she wants to be, there or thereabouts.
I wonder if we'll see one of these batters just stand slightly outside their crease to try and counteract the swing and give themselves a little bit more chance to get it before it, if it does move this much, try and get it before it jags back quite so much.
There you go, out of the hand again, it's swinging big onto those pads. Further down the track you are as well, the less likely you are to be given.
That's true, and with the keeper standing back, there's not the question of being stumped as well. It's something maybe they might do it as they get their iron just a little bit more. It's not often something you see right from the start, but after a few overs, take a bit more risk.
So bowled again, that's close enough to the spot, but that's beautifully played by Routledge though. Wow, she has placed that to perfection. It's hitting that on the up. Really, it was as much a square drive as it was a cut.
She's just timed that perfectly. Didn't need to overhit it, just opened the face on it and just guided it down into that vacant position. It was a lovely, lovely shot that looks effortless, but as anyone who spent any time out in the middle knows, those are not as effortless as they look.
Sweepers at cover point rather than deep third out there. Swinging down the leg side. So yeah, there's a deep square back and a deep cover points out on the boundary, and that was fine of the deep cover point. Hesitation was, because it wasn't a bad ball, it was beautifully played, but my hesitation on the shot itself was it was a good shot for one, but actually it was a brilliant shot for four. No ball, and punished as well. That's good sweeping up on the boundary. Just get the single for it, gets away with it in that sense, but it is going to be a free hit.
It's difficult fielding down there as well because of the slope, so the ball actually comes at you a lot higher than you think, and you've got to sort of almost block it with your body rather than you can be made a bit of a fool of if you just put your hands there sometimes. It's quite a difficult place to field out by that willow tree.
Yeah, I didn't particularly give the fielder a chance there, I've got to be honest. It's even more downhill towards the railway track. Gets through. Free ball, the free hit comes to nothing. They will get the bye for it.
It's interesting they're treating these batters now differently. So for Routledge, they've still got the sweeper on the leg side, but I think for Trussler, they might try and have another one out on the offside.
Can we see that front on again, please?
I've thumped the pads a few times now, but we're yet to see an appeal. You can see that one was angling down, would have missed quite comfortably.
It's angling down, but each time that it's thudded into the pad, they've got a single.
Again, they've talked about them blasting the pads off. They are hitting the pads regularly. That would have been a good shout for me.
It is slightly bizarre that neither the keeper nor the bowler seem to think about an appeal. And sometimes if you appeal, it just builds this sort of pressure and the batter can feel a little bit like, oh, maybe the next one. But no appeals at all. It is bizarre, given that she's almost in cricket sometimes you expect, even if they're hit on the pad and you know it's not out, that there's at least a half appeal. But this is nothing from either the bowler or the keeper. It is a bit odd.
Yeah, you kind of get yourself up for it, don't you, by the appeal. I mean, for sure at the moment, if you're a skipper and a coach sending your side out there, you know, it's that old mantra of bowl at the knees, not the hips. But particularly here, the movement that's out there at the moment, you'd want that ball up there and thumping the pad as they've done time after time. Here's Geach. Bit of wobble through the air on that one, just eased for the single wide of mid-off.
Interesting change of pace here from Gloucestershire, just gone for a little bit slower. Maybe they think the ball will have a bit more time to move and cause problems, and we've seen it race across the surface, so maybe they just want to take a little bit of the pace off. Obviously still seam, but just a slightly slower bowler.
I mentioned the temperatures, a bit of a breeze as well today. Just see on the umpire's hair there in the background. There is a bit of a breeze blowing, which will be assisting this movement through the air. One end has been in swing and the other's been away swing. Now, up and over. 4 it is. Gets all of it, Trussler. Went hard and got the reward.
Yeah, it was a good shot, but again, we've just seen anything that's wide is going to get punished, especially by this opening pair from Middlesex, who played so well. She could almost have a go at that because there was no fielder out there. You know, they were all on the edge of the ring, so as soon as you get it over them, you know you're going to be rewarded. And if they start taking these risks, they could pile on the runs really quickly.
Oh, this is marking a pretty stunning start here. And again. Over the top, one bounce, and another boundary.
Great use of the feet there from Trussler, just taking a couple of steps down and launching it over the head of the fielder at mid-on. Just one step and hit. And I think that was just a little bit too straight and a little bit sort of right in the slot when you see it on the TV screen when they do the length. Just slightly wrong from Geach.
My goodness me. It's a batting masterclass out there at the moment from Trussler. That's one of the shots of the day so far.
That's a beautiful shot. Again, she just times it perfectly and pierces the gap on the offside. Sometimes as a batter you feel like every shot you hit is going straight to a fielder, but it seems like for Trussler the opposite's happening. Every shot she plays is just going, carving out a space in the field that Gloucestershire are tinkering with, but it doesn't seem to be able to plug any of the gaps that are appearing.
50 partnership very nearly on the board.
Gloucestershire are just tinkering with their field slightly and have put a sweeper out on the offside for Trussler. I'm slightly surprised that didn't come in a little bit earlier, but I guess they're just trying to stem the flow of runs.
End of the 5th, 48 without loss. Bratledge 16 and Trussler 27. This is a very, very good start, and it feels as though they've done it with relatively low risk cricket as well.
Yeah, there was one that she hit up over the ring on the offside that could potentially have gone to hand, but that's pretty much the only chance I can think of, other than, as we've both mentioned, the lack of LBW appeals. And I wonder if we're just going to see a change of pace from Gloucestershire as we end the power play. Final over of the power play.
So Phillips it'll be. It'll be interesting to see whether, when you mentioned earlier, Sonia, about batting outside of your crease, absolutely right. And Middlesex haven't particularly put their foot down just yet, and that I'm not saying that as a criticism. A bit of loop. Radlett had to really watch that one first from Phillip. But I wonder, do they, in this over, think that they might try and just up the tempo and maximise this final over of the power play? But perhaps a master stroke from Gloucester to go to the spinner, though, which is the first time. You have to have a look at a spinner. You have to.
Well, also it means that they can't bat out of their crease, which is something that I'm sure was on the minds of both of them, especially with how much the ball was moving around for the seamers. Just kind of forces you to take stock, and you can't just rely on the pace of the ball.
Nicely bowled again, just a single long on back. Yeah, I think as good as this partnership is now, I said they hadn't really gone for any high-risk shots. They haven't needed to. Probably say they don't need to in this power play, or this final over of it. I feel she's missed out there a little. The ball was there for the sweep. There's only a deep mid-wicket, there's no deep square. Oh, that's lifted straight of the deep mid-wicket and bisects the two fielders, although they've managed to shut the gate just in time. Just a couple as a long on and a deep mid-wicket back, and that was where it was placed, just in between them.
Yeah, good skidded field by Melissa Story just to cut off that boundary, but it is a sign that Middlesex are going to be taking a little bit more risk.
This is good from Phillips, it really is. Just 4 off the over. 52 without loss. A good end to the power play for Gloucestershire, but overall that's a very positive power play for Middlesex.
A great power play for Middlesex. I'm not sure they could have envisioned it going much better. Obviously now Gloucestershire can plug a few gaps and have a couple more players out on the boundary, but it seems like there hasn't really been anything that's troubled Middlesex so far. That last over was their leanest of the match, and even then they were still looking to find the gaps. But I wonder if it's going to be a pace off day rather than one where you really try and trouble with the seamers. We saw the early movement, as we know with these white balls, that the movement can dissipate quite quickly, and it can be time to turn to a spinner, or at least someone a little bit different.
Belcher will be from Salterfield end. She's got a deep third, deep cover, long leg and a deep square. I feel like I'm missing one in the deep. No, I'm not. There's a mid-on, mid-wicket, mid-off. Cover and a point inside the circle. There's the 5.
This is an interesting bowling change because I think she's a little bit skiddier. And that's just something different for the Middlesex batters. And as we know, the surface can lift as well.
She's got a lot more pace. Really pushes that one through. The one thing I'd say about pace on here at Radlett is when that bounce, you can find extra lift in this surface. If that ball's coming through to you, a little bit of pace and it finds that extra bit of bounce. Over the years it's been a very difficult surface to play on, but if there is movement off the surface, which you'd expect there to be, well, pace on can go as quickly as it comes, and that's where you have to be tight in your lines and lengths.
Yeah, as we take another look at that, it was just a bit wide and right in the slot there for
Slottage.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's another way to describe that, just length slightly wrong. There wasn't too much problem with the line other than that extra bit of width gives you the freedom to swing at it, where you might not if it was a little bit tighter. You don't have quite the same room.
It'll be a wide. Yeah, I think that will be Gloucestershire's reflection. There's been too much outside the off stump that has allowed that arc to be created, be it for cuts or drives, pick-up shots.
We haven't actually seen too many shots over the leg side, which would suggest that your length isn't quite right, but there's just been a little bit too much the other way with the width on the offside, just giving these batters freedom to sort of free up their arms a little bit.
Close to a wide, that one. Trussler didn't really get the foot across, get herself into position for it, which meant she was stretching.
We saw Trussler play outside the off stump so comfortably to the slightly slower bowlers, but this is just something else to contend with.
Oh, goodness me, that's another lovely shot. Sweeper's back though. It's a story. Sweeping up in front of those that are in for this one. And there is a good number in just down in front of the pavilion.
I mean, it's lovely weather. It's not too hot today, which is not what I've been saying when I've been sweltering in my house all week.
Now, it's up in the air. It's in front of the fielder. They'll get 2. Bobbly outfield. It's dry and dusty here, so well fielded.
Greg, you're 4, I'm 3.
Well, there we go. That's what we've talked about. They've kept it outside the off stump, which they've been punished there. Not much through the leg side at all.
Normally you think you're doing better if you keep it on off, but I think there's just been too much width on that side, and also I'm not sure the length has been quite right yet from Gloucestershire. We haven't seen any that have forced the batters into that awkward no man's land between whether they go forward or back. It's been they're able to sort of just open the face on it.
Now, I think she's a little lucky there, Trussler, because she did step across and leave it alone. A little shuffle, but stopped in the covers. Yeah, that ball before, the step across the stumps meant that the ball went down the line where she was standing originally, I'd have thought.
She did walk all round it.
Oh, that's through. Desperate dive at the end, a lunge just to try and get there. Once it was through, it was always going to be away. First boundary, I think, that Phillips has conceded.
Not too much wrong with that either, just found the gap perfectly there, nice bit of footwork, and she just pushed it straight into the gap. But as a bowling perspective, there's not too much that she could have done differently with that.
Lovely shot. Now around the wicket. Missed out there, Trussler. Fielder up inside the circle.
The fielding placement strike me as a little bit odd, because most of the runs have come from the offside, and yet even when they could only have 2 out, and now they've got 2 sweepers.
And that is swept hard. Just be the single. Yeah, it's a deep sky. Oh, they're back for the second. That's good running.
It wasn't hit too hard, was it? It took a while to reach the sweeper, so I guess that just gave them time to come back for a second. And some quite big boundaries here at Radlett, as usual.
Another nice stroke down the ground, and right now Routledge and Trussler are so well set that they're playing this at their own tempo, aren't they? 6.8, 6.7 nearly.
It's an interesting change of angle, that decision to come around the wicket and try and cramp Trussler a little bit for room. I wonder, I think that's probably a good idea given that we saw that wagon wheel.
Looking for 2 again, back they come, putting the pressure on the fielder. Little fumble out there.
I think it bobbled slightly as well in the outfield before reaching the sweeper.
Well, it does, doesn't it, here at Radlett? It is an outfield, especially when it's dry and parched like this, where the bubbles can come into it that little bit more. So 70 without loss after 8. It's not out of control just yet for Gloucestershire, because you do put a wicket or 2 on the board now. Then that naturally slows that rate down. So I think what they'd certainly reflected, and I'm sure Middlesex will say it to themselves, is wicket to wicket when they get out there. Movement that was there, swing and seam early on.
And anything that comes off the middle of the bat is going to fly. It's so dry and short out there. It's just anything that does come out the middle, we've just seen a race away, whether it's up or down the hill, really.
Well, that's what you don't offer, that width, and that wagon wheel that we just showed you really illustrates that. I think there's been a lot of width offered up. It's better. It's close to the channel. It started wide, but just nipped back in, which is what beats Trussler.
Yeah, she just looked like she wasn't too sure, and that's what you want as a bowler. You want to get the batters in two minds about what shot they're going to play. That's how you get edges or miss hits, is when they feel like they're chasing it rather than when they're just comfortably playing it right under their eyes and feeling like they can sort of push it into any gap they want.
Oh, it's through. That's unlikely to be caught, that one. Down the hill it goes, and it will keep going. 4 more for Trussler. Swinging into the block hole, but starting wide.
I just wonder if the fielder in the ring there who dived over it should have potentially given herself a couple more yards just so that she could have cut that off. Because obviously you want to be there stopping the one, but you are also there because there's no one behind you to stop the boundary. So if you're not sure, give yourself kind of another yard or two.
Might have just picked up the few spectators at the far end who'd actually turned and were watching a little bit of the action on the other field, Salters Field end. There's a second cricket field. Radlett playing in the Hertfordshire League today. Nicely steered away. There's that bobble. They'll come back for the second, putting the pressure on the fielder.
That's good running from Middlesex there, just seeing the slight, it wasn't even a big error, just the sort of slight bobble as it reached the fielder and taking the opportunity to add on another run. That is quite smart cricket from Middlesex, who are going really nicely here.
Should just be the single. Yeah, regular watchers here at Radlett will know that this outfield, once it's off that square, that's a mound that just slips away all the way around the field. So as we sit at the pavilion end, if the fielder's down at long on or deep third at the other end, we can't see below their knees because the mound rises up in front of us. But also, especially on a day like this, again, dry, parched surface, the outfield, it really will bobble up on you as it races down a hill towards you. Oh, that'll be a no ball. Full bung up, above waist height, so a no ball will be called, and we'll get a warning for that as well. Punished beautifully, but it was a particularly high one. Fine with the fielder out there, the sweeper at deep square. So another free hit. Two above waist height, and you're out of the attack, so Belcher would have been reminded of that. You only get away with one waist high full toss.
And that wasn't even a particularly debatable one. That was sort of up near her chest and shoulder area. Well played by Radlett.
Just the single off the free hit. In fact, they didn't take it. Didn't bother with the risk of it, so gets away with it, but the no ball and the 4 counting for 5 then. The free hit not being costly at all. So 82 for no wicket after 9. That run rate up over 9 now. Gloucestershire in desperate need of a wicket. A wicket can obviously change this very quickly.
And if they do get a wicket, I'm sure they'd rather it be Trussler, who's just played so nicely today. Not that Routledge has done anything wrong, but it's Trussler who's really sort of punished the Gloucestershire attack so far. And it will be another change of bowler with Daniels coming on from the pavilion end.
Slides it across.
Just another different thing. I think they're going to try and keep rotating these bowlers and see if they can magic up a wicket from somewhere.
Talks about them bowling wicket to wicket. This is actually quite a good line, right arm around to the right-hander. That is beautifully played. It's about to make the point. It's very difficult to get your timing right against that angle, but Trussler makes no mistake, and that's a fine 50. 36 balls, it was a 10th four to bring it up.
I think we're seeing the perils of that right arm round is if you get it slightly wrong, it's just on the pads and you can swing at it, which she did so nicely there to bring up her 50. It's been a great half century from Trussler, who has looked so comfortable out there and played some absolutely lovely shots, particularly through the covers.
Got it from behind.
And the ball is just being dug out there in the corner of the hedge. It's not usually where we see a ball lost at Radlett. Normally it's the other side, but as a ground surrounded by hedges, there are lots of opportunities to go ball hunting.
When Angus Fraser was the director of cricket, I think there was some talk. They might have done it actually at one stage. The squad would come here and build a wooden fence in front of all of those bushes, so they'd stop losing so many balls. Costly things. 80 quid a pop now, are they?
What, cricket ball? Don't know. Haven't bought them in God knows how long. I think you can buy them in packs though.
Oh, now that nearly got through. Trussler looking to dance to the pitch.
Oh, that so nearly got through. Crashed into her pads.
Well, bowled again. That angle across. Is it going to go? Yes, it is. A moral victory for the bowler, though. A little bit of bounce on that, I think. Yeah, high up the outside edge. But I do think that angler, you were talking about it, the peril, quite rightly. You know, it's hard to swing across the line at that, and you can just see it starting to get some runs to the leg side finally now.
Which was before to bring up the 50. Is that a sweat? Was it square of the wicket for 4?
So you can see the sweep. I think it was a little bit squarer than that's perhaps suggesting. The sweep that went for 4 to bring up the 50 for Trussler. But yeah, a lot has been into the swinging arc outside off. And I think coming around the wicket, that one for 4 that was swept was so well timed, because it was quite a full delivery. Problem coming around the wicket is you're almost taking LBW out of the equation. It's got to be quite a full ball and straightening. But you are effectively asking the batters to swing the ball off the stumps, though, if they do want to, again, talk about the slot, the arc. The slot and the arc from around the wicket is, from the bowler's perspective, they've got to be trying to hit the stump top of off almost every ball. Just rolling the wrists on that one. Single taken.
It's hard to know. I mean, obviously you know where Middlesex go from here. They're just going to try and keep this partnership going as long as they can, and then it allows any batter who does come in later on complete freedom almost to go after.
Three more of those. Cry from Melissa Story, who's sweeping just in front of our tent. That's a very, very good pick up. Chipped but timed sweetly.
Oh, that was perfectly picked up, wasn't it? She almost got into position so early there and just opened up the front leg to access the sort of deep mid-wicket area there, and no fielder. The two on the boundary couldn't get anywhere near it and almost perfectly carved them in half. It was a really nice shot there from Radlett.
The boundary count's been good today for Middlesex. Should just be the single, but everybody watching for the bobbles now, the bounce in the outfield here. Can Geach get out of the over? Just that one boundary. 3 more of those was the cry midway through the over from the ropes. Well, all the way. Really, really good shot for 6 from Trussler. First 6 of the innings. We talked about their ability to swing the ball out of the slot. Further evidence of it there.
Oh, she's picked that up so early. She's pulled that from outside off stump over the leg side to access that. I think it's fair to say she's well and truly got her iron now and is probably looking to pile on runs as quickly as she can, and this is worrying for Gloucestershire because she hasn't given away any chances. In fact, neither of them have really given away any chances other than those. The only thing that comes to mind were those 2 early non-LBW shouts. That's the only trouble we've really seen them in. It was a good reminder from the wicketkeeper there, just reminding the batter that she's there. Routledge didn't move, but it's a reminder to her not to stray too far from that crease line.
Oh, and another bobble does for the fielder. It is tough out there. This is now the 4th highest partnership in T20 cricket for Middlesex women. Naomi Tatani, who's back with Middlesex on loan, and Cordelia Griffith have the highest. 144 against Hampshire, that was. Oh, first chance. That was hit hard, hit fast. Reaction stop really from Daniels. Probably saved 3 runs, but very nearly.
That's going to hurt as well. She was wringing her hand out there, just jumped up to I think she almost just stuck a hand up rather than actually trying to catch it.
Oh, that is a beaut. There you go. That's the angle that we're talking about around the wicket, where if you can get it right, then right now that's probably one of the best forms of defence and indeed attack that Gloucestershire have.
It just forces you to open up, leaving you a little bit vulnerable to that gap between bat and pad, because you've got to sort of angle yourself in your setup to play the ball coming quite wide from the bowler's end, and then that does mean that your bat is not coming down as straight as it would be if you were playing outside the off stump. So it just forces you to, you can get cramped a little bit sometimes as a batter trying to play that angle, and it can leave you a bit vulnerable to something just sneaking inside. Another change of bowling from Gloucestershire. I'm not sure we've seen any Gloucestershire bowler bowl more than 2 overs, have we?
No, I think you're right. Have you got a bowling card in the bottom right corner? Have a little look there. There you go. All the 2s.
And we're going to see Reddy for the first time in this match.
A little bit of bounce on that one.
A little bit of a quicker spinner. Just wonder if Gloucestershire have decided that pace-off's the way to go. It's got a sweeper out on the offside between the cover point boundary and long on, as well as one at mid-wicket.
That is taken off middle stump for 6. What a shot that is. It's clattering into the top of middle, I'd reckon. Trussler slams it over deep square.
Yes, deep square, the other fielder on the boundary, and that was just over her head there. Not much you can do for that as a bowler, just an absolutely brilliant shot from Trussler there in the middle.
Little inside edge saves Trussler on that occasion, very nearly. An appeal from Reddy. She was set to go with it, so I knew there was an inside tickle and didn't actually ask the question when she turned in excitement. Bowled again, just the single. Bit of loop on that, bit of airtime, but a nice use of the feet. Pick up a couple wide of Belcher out there.
And well stopped on the boundary rope there as well. We've seen so many of those race away for 4, and that one was well cut off there. So it doesn't seem to be much that Gloucestershire can do to stop these two batters, really, other than that one that was driven hard straight back at the bowler.
Just seeing it so big now, aren't they? It's difficult for Reddy to come in. She hasn't done much wrong in that over. The 6 was hit off the top of middle stump. I mean, she's not really done anything wrong.
I do think she tried to slightly over-adjust, and we saw a couple just drag down a little bit too short. I think you've really got to bowl it as full as you can and not give them the chance to swing through the line that we've seen be so effective, particularly for Trussler, who has raced on to 70 from 46. Daniels will be bucking the trend of 2 overs apiece as she goes into her 3rd over from the pavilion end.
Full toss, put away. Radlett onto it quickly. Again, they're seeing it big right now. No margin for error for Gloucestershire.
No, great shot there from Radlett. She just does a little shuffle and almost strokes the ball into the gap there on the offside.
Bowled again. On the splice, just push back. Dragged in between 2. Deep mid-wicket and long on coming around. It's Reddy will get there first.
Just out of the splice a little bit there, didn't quite sound right off the bat. Not sure she played that exactly where she wanted, but still a good over from Middlesex. Quick single. They thought about the second but decided better of it. They one thing this pair have done so well as well is just pounce on any slight misfield and take it as an opportunity to come back for a second.
Just be a leg by, I think. And the over. 1-2-4 without loss, so 20 shy of the record opening stand for Middlesex in T20s. Trussler likes facing Gloucestershire. They're already a century against Gloucestershire in the one-dayers this year. Can she go again in the T20? She's got 6 overs to do it. She's there at the end. It's a fair bet she will have done so.
It is going to be hot out there for the batters. I mean, I know it's clouding over here and the wind, it's quite breezy in the tent that we're in, but it is still quite muggy and hot out there, and as a batter you will be feeling every bit of that as you sprint between the wickets.
So sunrises were, was that the year before sunrises? Because we played that 6 women last week, we did. It's Cadillo with Essex.
2021 was that 1-4-4 stand against Hampshire. Swept fine. And again, no catching it. Geach the fielder this time, a rueful smile. Almost the perfect fall. Perfect fall has to stop on the rope, of course.
Of course. I mean, that one tried its best, didn't it? It hung there for a long time. Just those ones as a fielder are so horrible. They just give you hope that you're going to get there, only for you nearly to get there when it just bobbles over. And so frustrating for the fielding side as well, because that was just knocked fine.
Kept her interested right to the last. That one's not keeping anyone interested. Trussler is on to 78.
She's picked that up really early, hasn't she? She's just moved, done the what you were taught as a child there, the 2-step pull shot, just to open it up and launch that straight into the leg side. There is no stopping that, even though there was a fielder on the boundary. She's hit that perfectly.
You're going very confidently there, Don. That was a very confident prediction. Tony and Griffith in that one. For who, sorry? Yeah. Where's Dungy? Sorry. Yeah. Individual batter. That might not be far off. But can you not see what Tatani and Griffith got? Yeah, because if they were 144 down, then they've at least got to be.
End of the over, Middlesex 134 without loss from 15 so far, and it will be Daniels who will have her final over here. She's probably been the least expensive of the Gloucestershire attacks so far.
Get a couple at least. I'll think about a third here because this will get pulled up. It's I can promise you, in any form of cricket here at Radlett, that's a lesser spotted 3.
It's quite a long way down into that corner, isn't it? And as a fielder throwing up the hill, it doesn't seem to, it sort of almost seems to stop sometimes. and you're trying to launch it back.
Up in the air. Oh, and put down. Mid-off. Bird not able to hold on.
That's the chance that they've been wanting for so long, and a way to break this partnership. And well, it's those are difficult catches, but it should have been taken.
That's 50 for Routledge. 42 balls for Routledge's 50. A raise of the bat. And this pair are closing as well on that record stand of 144 by Tatani and Griffith. 6-4. It's been a brilliant stand between these two. They might be about to break records. And one has already gone. I'll tell you more about that in a moment. Now, chase on. Is it going to go? It is. And that is the joint record stand for Middlesex. 144, matching that Griffith and Datani score against Hampshire back in 2021. One that has already gone is Trussler's 80, is now the highest score by a Middlesex batter in T20s. Sophia Dunkley with 77, the previous highest.
Quick word between the batters here. I wonder if they're just saying let's try and really attack this and or see off this particular bowler, and then let's really go after it in the final 4 overs of the game.
End of the over, 144 without loss. So the record stand is matched. The highest score has been set. How much further do they go now?
Well, I think they've really got to go after it here. You want to sort of almost put the game to bed as much as you can, and they've obviously both in. They've already seen a chance go down. I think they've got to really start attacking and not letting really any dots build up. Against Reddy, who's already gone at 10s, but I think they'll be really looking to sort of put this game beyond Gloucestershire in the first innings and give themselves a huge total to defend. And I think we're going to see the opening bowler from the far end come back on.
Dolman on for 17 from her 2. They scored 48 off the first 5 overs. The power play. The 6th was a tight one, just 4 runs conceded. Now swung away, but straight to the sweeper. And that is now the record. Breaking to Tani and Griffiths 144. That goes up in the air. Safe though. 1 bounce and 4 more. Trussler onto 84.
I think that's what we're going to see as this continues. We've seen it in the last game as well. That sort of vacant deep mid-wicket position seems to bring quite a few runs, and yet neither of the visiting attacks put a fielder there. It can just race away so quickly, and that was well picked up by Trussler. She launches that into the leg side and has yet another boundary.
Now another one. This might be the biggest of the lot. 1 bounce, and I think that's over the fence.
I think we're going to be needing to see a new ball there. I'm not sure we're going to get that one back. That was a huge hit from Trussler, who again just picks it up so well outside off stump to send it over the leg side boundary and doesn't even bother to run, just watches it sail away there.
This has been quite the exhibition of batting, but hitting as well. Radlett's a high-scoring ground for many reasons. One, their tight boundaries here. Two, that mound that we've talked about, the rapid field, once the rapid surface in the outfield. They are going to have to get a replacement ball. It has gone. Coach bringing out the. It's like a bag of balls, isn't it? I was going to call it the box of balls, not a box.
It's a box-like bag.
It's
sort of square.
It's almost like what you put your lunch in, isn't it?
What, the lunch box of cricket ball? I think the coach tried to give them a brand new one, and the umpire has come out and tried to get one in similar shape to the one that they were using.
Expensive, that new one.
Oh, definitely. Especially in the women's sizes, because they don't make as many of them. And the lunch box of balls goes off.
So 146. 11 off the over, 155. Without loss. It's going to be a wide. Dragged down and started wide. It did just appear to seam away as well. Edged past the keeper. Trussler will move to 94.
Yeah, one thing we've seen is there have been a couple of chances in this game and none of them have been taken, and Trussler is just rewarded from that as she moves on to 94. That was, as we just have another look at it, that was edged. We missed. Well, it missed the bat, but it's a.
It's a wide. So byes given on the previous one. I reckon there was a little tickle on that.
They've got one from behind of the byes. Except it might just be outside the line of the gloves for us to see that point. I don't know if they can adjust that retrospectively. She's out for 96.
Swing and a miss.
I'll take both angles if you can. And if you can't, I'll take one.
I know, a wry smile there.
Is this the edge?
Missed everything. Fair enough. That is hit hard. Sounded sweet. Straight to the fielder though.
It's almost a rare sight of the ball going to the fielder. So often we've seen this Middlesex pair just dispatch it into the gaps, but that one was straight to the fielder.
163, we know, is now the highest stand. This also matches the highest T20 score against another first-class county. 163 for Full versus Somerset in 2017 was the previous high for Middlesex. They're going to go beyond that one. It's the third highest total in Middlesex women history, only beaten by 2 scores, which were both hit against Huntingdonshire in 2022. 175 for 3 and 234 for 3, but this is about to become the highest T20 score against another first-class county.
Well done, Fledge.
Down the grounds. One bounce and she stepped past it. Over it goes. It was a difficult one, that slope as well. You never know how that bounce is going to go. Just a little bit of drag on it, wasn't off the surface I reckon, but it was the bounce over the head also. Oh no! Oh yes, that is the end. Trussler's done, run out for 90, and Routledge cutting it to cover. Trussler setting off. It's not going to be the first 100 for a Middlesex batter, but it is the highest individual score, 90 off 59, and you can almost see the disbelief there. There's a little bit of shock, I'd fancy, as Trussler makes her way off from what has been an incredible innings, but shock all round, shock of silence around Radlett really as the run out happened. Daniels with the run out, Trussler 90 off 59, the highest score by a Middlesex batter. A masterful, brilliant innings comes to an end.
I just wonder, they seem to get their wires crossed for the first time in a little bit there, and just Trussler left completely stranded at the non-striker's end. And that's the first wicket coming in the 18th over.
She probably won't know. She's got the century already this season against Gloucestershire in List A, but she probably won't know just yet that that is the highest score by a Middlesex batter in T20s. It'll be a wide.
Go on, Charlie.
Should have a fair idea that it's close to being a record partnership. Now what can Routledge and Sproul do? No run again there. I don't think there was a run on the run out. I think it was straight to the fielder.
No, I just wonder if Routledge should potentially have sacrificed herself, given...
I mean, I guess, again, the overriding emotion, I think, around the entire ground, including Gloucestershire, because there was no real celebration of it, was just shock.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I do wonder, given Trussler's superior strike rate, if that was something that maybe should have been the other way around, and Routledge has really got to take this on herself now.
Through for the single on that one. Sproul's first ball, bringing the single. She's well, she's got no time to get going or to get herself in. She's just got to get going out there. Now that could well go. That first bounce kicked it along. And ready with the roll, not able to cut it off, so 4 more it is.
Yeah, Routledge just moving well outside her leg stump there to try and access it. She left herself a little bit exposed, but timed that perfectly through the deep mid-wicket region and right in front of our commentary tent.
So 2 overs to go. Here's the 200 on. Highest score already against another first-class county.
I think we're going to see Belcher coming back on again at the end, just a little bit of pace, which can also have the effect that it goes faster off the bat, so it's an interesting decision by Gloucestershire.
Well, decision now for Sproul is quite clear. It's 1, 4 or 6 really, isn't it? And that will be a couple, will it? They were thinking about the second. Radlett says no. Rightly so, I think. She's got a smile on her face for a couple of reasons. It was the right call to say no.
Belcher's just got to rein it in a little bit, because we've already seen her warned for one high full toss, and that was another sort of high-ish full toss. Not enough to be a no ball, but enough that she didn't have too much to play with.
It's well bowled, but that is brilliant cricket from Routledge. She's driven an in-swinging Yorker down the ground for 4. I say if you miss with the Yorker, miss long, not short, and that was only marginally short. It's really dug out down the ground for 4.
And that's exactly what Routledge has to do now, really take it on herself and make me eat my words when I said perhaps she should have swapped with her opening partner.
Yeah, I think if it was one, I think your sentiment's right. If it was one in the deep, then, you know, they're basically in the middle together. Just a single on this occasion. But because it was on the infield like that, I think it was so... By the time they made the decision that it was no, she hadn't set off, so that split-second decision wasn't there. But absolutely, if that ball had been in the deep and they were in that position, then you'd like to think that there might have been that moment just to make the decision, come through and take the chance. Oh, now, where's that hit? She went early there.
She went so early that the bowler could follow her, which is usually what your intention is not to do, and she was struck on the pad. I'm not sure she was ever quite in the right position to play that. It was a bit of a bizarre one, when surely she wants to just tap it and get her partner on strike, but it's always nice to see a little bit of improvisation.
You just got to make sure you get bat on ball at this stage. Does so there and gets it through beautifully for 4. She'll probably wish she did that the ball before, because that was a gorgeous cricket shot. You know what Belcher's going with at the moment, and that is full and straight. A bit of width, just freeing up those arms. Yeah, the one before, I reckon it was going on to hit, but it was striking outside the line of off. Had every chance it probably would have at least clipped off. But outside the line of off, playing a shot. Ooh, that's a good stop by the keeper. That could well have been away for 4 wides.
She almost fell over in the delivery stride there. I wonder if that's something to look at between the innings. That was a bizarre sort of... She was all over the place when she let go of that. Just couldn't get her feet right at all. Almost sort of fell as she was bowling. I wonder if she just didn't get the run up quite right, and instead of pulling out, tried to sort of overcompensate.
Yeah, she switched her around the wicket. Gets away with it. Yeah, next ball's a dot ball. 186 for 1 it is then. So 1 over to go. Sproul with strike. And again, it's back to the 1, 4 or 6, isn't it, off the first ball?
It really is at this stage. I mean, Middlesex slowed up a touch. At one point you thought they were definitely going to get that 200, and I wonder if they can just force themselves over the line in this final over of the innings.
Yeah, on the run out as well, just thinking what we were discussing there about if it was out into the deep, then maybe Routledge has that split second more to make the decisions, sacrifice herself. You do wonder what the calling was, or whether there wasn't a call and that's why Trussler set off so hard. Oh, they've done well to find a single there.
And job done for Sproul. We said 1, 4 or 6. She's taking the 1. She's got her partner on strike. We can see the field move away a little bit, and Routledge has got to really go for it in this over and try and score as many runs as possible.
That's a gorgeous shot. Really have been some good ones today.
Yeah, absolutely stunning drive. We've seen so many good drives today. I think we could do a great compilation of all of them just outside the off stump. Stroked through the gap. Lovely shot from Radlett. It didn't really have to move her feet at all either.
Well, that's it, that width that they've offered Gloucestershire, and again I'm sure we'll come back to it at the start of the chase, see how Middlesex go about it, but it feels that the ball offered outside off. It's either been full enough to be driven like that, or if it's on a length, well cut or indeed dragged into the onside. That'll go. Will the fielder get around? No! Radlett is on 74. Goodness me, she couldn't take Trussler's highest score, could she?
Oh, she might. I don't think so. I think that's just out of reach, but that was a lovely hit. And again, just trying to way too full, giving away the full tosses. That's not what you should be looking to do. You should be just trying to keep it as tight as possible in the final over.
There probably goes the 90.
Never know, you could get some no balls. But Middlesex should really be looking at the 200 here, just from a psychological perspective, what that would bring.
Oh, now cut down and into the ground and over the keeper for more. Little stroke of luck.
I'm not sure any player meant to do what happened quite there. I think it was one of those slightly bizarre things. It was dragged down too much by the bowler. Routledge tried to sort of push it up and over, ends up getting a very thick inside edge down straight into the ground, which bounces over the wicketkeeper and goes away for 4. It's just a slightly odd cricket sequence, that.
Final ball. Oh, goes down the ground. Hasn't got hold of it, clothed it really. They'll come back for 2. So Routledge moves to 80. Middlesex moved to 201 for 1. So Routledge now the second highest scorer in Middlesex history, behind Trussler, who hit 90. And that partnership, which is a record for Middlesex, that also is the second highest score in Middlesex's history, sitting in behind the 2-3-4 for 3 against Huntingdonshire in 2022 and beating the 1-7-5 for 3 against the same team that year. It is the highest T20 score by Middlesex against another first-class county, beating the 1-6-3 for 4 against Somerset in 2017. So Griffith and Tatani sit second in the partnership stakes now, behind Routledge and Trussler, but that was quite the display of hitting. It's going to be quite the display if Gloucestershire are to get anywhere near it, let alone topple it in this one. It's been a record-setting day at Radlett so far. Do join us back for the chase in just a few moments as the batters are applauded off. You'll hear that in the background. We'll be back as they start to make their way back out onto the outfield in just under 10 minutes. Well, a very good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Radlett, a record-setting Radlett for Middlesex today. Radlett, you can still see at the bottom of the screen there, the second highest score by a Middlesex batter. Trussler with 80, the highest score by a Middlesex batter, and Middlesex with their highest stand in a T20 set by that opening pair, and also their second highest total in T20s, their highest against a fellow T20 side, a fellow first-class side, I should say. Huntingdonshire being the side that Middlesex hit 234 against in 2022, but obviously a fair few changes in women's cricket over the years. That previous record total set by a certain Naomi Datani and Cordelia Griffith against Hampshire. So a fair pairing in 2021. Could have been gone past, and a fair match as well to have set it the previous one in.
Did we say because you said can't as opposed to can't? Because when I read it, it's got to be can't. But when because you put that in my mind, I went with can't when I said it. It's got to be can't.
So nearly ready to go in the chase then. 202 is an ominous, formidable target for Willis and Kant, who are out there. Patel it'll be to get us going out in the middle, keeping us going in the 10th. Myself, Kevin Hand, Sonia Twig alongside me for this one. If they get anywhere near Gloucestershire, then we're in for quite the game. Patel it is, Saltersfield ends. And there's that swing straight away that we saw with the white ball in the first innings.
If Gloucestershire are going to have any chance at this, they really need to get on the front foot and get there early. But if failing that, they need to just be wary of the swing. We only saw it have a huge impact for the first sort of 4 or 5 overs.
Just not controlling that swing there. It started straight, and with the swing it kept going. They run the one as well.
Yeah, that's the problem as a bowler, particularly as you shape up and the ball goes down the hill. You can end up sort of pushing it out and it will just follow the trajectory, especially if it does swing, and you can end up bowling what you sort of think is, that's, sort of middle and off stump, and it just sort of drifts down.
Oh, now Kant didn't have any idea where that one went. Leading edge, but didn't loop up.
No, it just sort of skidded off the bat. I think she slightly got away with one there. That could have gone anywhere, and you can tell that when the batter themselves is looking all round to try and find where the ball's gone.
Up in the air. Just, safe. And it's going to be 4. Completely caught in two minds there, Pearson. Wasn't sure on the catch, but then the bounce, wow.
Well, we saw one in the first innings that the fielder ran around and ended up bouncing over her head, and I think you could probably say that's just karma and now nicely evened itself out. But I think the fielders have got to wary of this bounce. The ground is clearly rock solid, and anything that goes up is just going to loop and ping off the surface.
Well, that swing is certainly disconcerting Kant at the moment.
She's such a good bowler when it comes to changing pace as well. She can bowl a pretty deceptive slower ball that can be quite problematic.
Should just be a single. So 52 was the Middlesex power play, but 48 off 5 was the really stunning start. in the air and gone. Extra cover takes the catch. Hawley holds on. Willis hangs her head backwards. She goes. First ball. Chipping it up. Something of a dolly, but they still have to be hung on to.
Yeah, she just ended up sort of not anywhere near that in a way. It was kind of bizarre. She almost hung the bat out there. I wonder whether that was a slightly slower ball or she thought it was going to come on quicker than it did. It didn't look like a slower ball from what we can see, but just sort of ended up pushing the ball out from under her eyes and straight to the fielder then.
Willis gone for the duck. 2 balls faced. Of course, she's faced the first ball of the innings. Thought they ran the wide. But 7 for 1 it is after 1. Well, it's a story out to the middle.
And another Patel from the pavilion end with ball in hand for Middlesex.
Leg side. Worth a shout, of course.
Well, that's what we didn't see from Gloucestershire when they were to struck on the pad. It doesn't hurt to appeal at all. That was well outside though.
Oh, now that's close. Well. And after a big appeal, a boundary.
2 big appeals really. I'm not quite sure what the second one could possibly have been missing, but that was a nice shot. Again, what we saw from Middlesex doing so well was just using that width outside the off stump, and that's what Kant has done there, just leaned into it and carved it through the gap between point and cover.
Another edge. Another boundary.
Yeah, Kant has raced away to 9 runs, but that one had a little bit of luck about it again. Just a thick outside edge flying over the wicketkeeper's head and trickling down the hill to the boundary on the far end of the ground from where we're sat in our tent here.
Now that is sweetly struck. Just going to be the single though. Trussler out there on the ropes. Fresh from that 90. And Middlesex is 201 for 1.
Yeah, well fielded. She just picked it up so calmly on the one bounce and threw it in, and that's what I think Middlesex will want to do, just to try and keep the pressure on.
$16 for 1 after 2. Here were the first 2 balls of that over though. First feeling was it was leg side this one, but that was tight to the off stump, to the leg stump. Hits that back leg first, then ricochets onto the front. This one though, for me, well, that's hidden halfway up.
I can't work out what that's missing at all. That has hit her sort of hip in front of middle. I can't quite understand the decision behind that one, but you know, we move on. That's how the game works. Got to trust the umpire's decisions.
Flustering swings of the bats on those sweeps, perhaps just putting off the umpire a little. The first one, As I say, my first instinct was leg side, but the replay for me suggests it was probably hitting leg. The second one was hitting middle.
I think we get the benefit of the replay, obviously the umpires don't, and if our first instinct was that was going down, that's probably what they saw too.
A little bit of width served up there. That was the mistake that Gloucestershire made throughout the innings, really. The boundary.
Kant just carving that one out through backward point again. Just a little bit of width on this surface, just seems to sit up and is almost just guided at ease into the gaps. I think it's one thing the bowlers have got to watch here.
Oh, goodness me, how has that missed? Talk about the bounce so often, don't we, at Radlett? Another good example of it there. It saves Kant.
That's just bounced all over the stumps there off a good length. That had taken everyone by surprise, I think, and Kant gets away with one a little bit there.
That's what she was looking for. The last ball gets it away, this one.
She's raced away to a start. You can see there are runs out there, if you can find them. She's picked that one up nicely and just helped it on its way down the slope in front of square.
Picked up out of the slot for 4. Patel going for the in-swing and Yorker. Again, if you're going to miss, you've got to miss long, not short. Planted into the slot, planted over mid-on.
Yeah, just picked up so nicely, and that in-swing almost counting against Patel there, as it just allows you to sort of swing at it and into that very vacant deep mid-wicket area.
3 done, 29 for 1. They're up with the rate.
Still a long way to go though.
I say it all the time in any form of cricket, whether it's List A or first class in a chase. Generally feel it's all about partnerships, isn't it? There was a huge record-setting stand for Middlesex. Gloucestershire are going to need something the same here.
But as we also saw, just anything wide can be punished so easily on this surface. It's not a particularly quick one, and the bounce is just helping it sit up if it is a little bit wide, allowing batters to almost play into the gaps as they wish.
Did start leg side on that one and punished. Oh, it's going to be a tough chase down there.
I think she mistimed her dive a little bit. She almost ended up falling over the ball slightly on that one, and that has allowed Kant to race away down there. It looked for a minute like she would get there, and she almost just sort of falls a bit short of it as it sort of follows the hill round.
It's so tough here. It's got to be one of the toughest grounds to field at, Radlett.
I fielded her. On a baking hot 30-degree day.
Are you going to tell me you never let a single through?
I spent my entire time on the square leg boundary, I think, when I wasn't bowling. I just remember it being a scorcher.
Another sweet pick up. The sweeper is back though at deep mid wicket.
This was back in the days of club cricket when women would play 45 overs, so it was a very long day in the field, that one.
That's a lovely shot. Just get a couple. Gun barrel straight though from Story. Well judged. And well hit with the fielder back. Away nicely, and just the single with the long on back.
There's not much else you can do with a sort of Yorker that's swinging in at your pads other than sort of dig it out and push it up for a single. And we have a dog. And dogs at the cricket is always a great thing about outgrounds. I love it when people bring their dogs to cricket.
Hey, there you go. 2. He's smiling.
I was going to say the second one looks a lot happier. Loving life here at Radlett.
It's a proper smile, that one, isn't it?
He's probably loving that it's 5 degrees cooler today than yesterday. Or she.
Where's mine?
Should have brought it.
I meant the beer for the dog. Drags wide of the fielders and through the gap.
That was a great pick up there from Story. She tried to do it the ball before, and that one she just played that really nicely into the gap between the fielders, just using her feet well to get down to the pitch of the ball and help it into that vacant leg side area.
Well, Middlesex clearly know their opponent. They've sent long on back with the deep mid wicket, whereas for Kant it's a deep mid wicket and deep square. Obviously fancying that Story will play to form and go down the ground as she has done throughout the 11 runs so far.
Well, they play each other so much, don't they? In this sort of, because they play each other in the 50 over games and the 20 over games, and some of the teams will have come up each other again in the T20 Cup, so there must be a lot of familiarity between the sides, and I'm sure some of these have come up against each other in junior cricket as well. Women's cricket is quite a small world when it comes down to it.
There's Kant, look at it all, square of the wicket.
It's almost the opposite to what we saw from Trussler in the first innings, where she was playing everything sort of almost through point and cover, and this is everything almost square and behind.
2 of those fours back would have, or the 2 fours back would have points were both top edges, as I remember.
Yes, they were, and we're just having a brief interlude for a ball change. Yeah.
Where she was attempting to access the onside, so in her mind they were going with the rest of them on the onside, but Story's 11 will be mostly down the ground now.
Few on the leg side, but yeah, mostly down the ground and looking to score in some of those areas.
The story of the day is Gloucestershire
What's interesting is the Gloucestershire batters seem to be almost going back, whereas the Middlesex batters were coming forward a lot more.
Floated that one through outside off stump, but Story will be disappointed she's not laid bat on it.
I think she might have wanted to just come forward and push at that one rather than going back and trying to carve it out. You can get yourself in trouble sometimes.
Three dot balls. I think it's 3 dot balls for a wicket in T20 cricket. Sunrisers were working it out last year. 21 dot balls for a wicket in Tests cricket, first class. Not today.
Oh, and a missed field means she'll get another one for that as well. That was... I don't like to say it, but I think she probably should have done a little bit better there, given that she got to it, cut it off, and then it almost skewed off a leg or something and went behind her, and she had to run and pick it up.
Yeah, I've just seen so many of those bubbles now that we saw it throughout the Gloucestershire fielding performance as well, didn't we? You're almost expecting it. 5 done, 43 for 1. Middlesex were 48 without loss at this stage.
Oh, and there's another dog in the background of the two batters there.
Three dogs on the ground?
I think there are
Can we
3
find
dogs.
a fourth? Oh, goodness me.
Oh, he looks old. Look at him walking around.
Well, let's try and stick to the dog here if we can, Sonia. Oh, how was that missed? Hawley into the attack, nearly into the wickets.
If we just take another look at that. Oh, that was... Oh, that's just missed.
Good start this from the skipper.
Interesting decision from Kant to keep sweeping, given that we've seen that's what got her in trouble early on. And that one is missed by a very, very small margin. That's a great start from Hawley.
Stumps nearly edged it to the keeper, didn't they? No, they will get 3 for the single. Ball bounces off.
I think if the fielder dives down like that onto the floor, usually good for a single.
That's away nicely. Well done. Good work on the ropes.
That's a great bit of fielding there and the practice. And they've got a run out for it.
Oh, wow. What have they done there? They were just getting going, this pairing. We saw a shock run out at the end of the Middlesex innings. Now at the start of the Gloucestershire one. The story sets off quickly enough. Yes is the call, the agreement's there. And it's for the third that, well, they haven't hesitated. I'm just not sure the third was there. I'll tell you what, that's a great call by the umpire. I think that is out, but it's so tight.
Oh, it's so close, that one. And they'll just be so frustrated with it because they didn't need to take that extra third one, and Kant was going so nicely in 29 off 21 at the start and was looking to really attack, and now they've just left slightly short. They're up with the run rate, but the wicket loss will be problematic for Gloucestershire. And as you were describing that, we saw Middlesex's subfielders run on an entire Gatorade trolley. that was bouncing along the outfield in front of us quite loudly, and they are now just taking the decision to carry it off.
Have we got the replay of them taking it out? Common sense has prevailed. Although it might be a bit lighter going off than it was going on, to be fair. They probably all just necked whatever was inside.
It was just the sight of this Gatorade trolley being bounced along the outfield out to the middle. And it's been dumped just over the boundary rope as well. Things you don't see in the professional game is a Gatorade trolley being bounced around the outfield out to the middle in the aftermath of a run out.
Was their bat involved? No! First baller. Each has to go. The finger goes up. Yep, stone dead. As long as there wasn't a little inside tickle on it, I think each had to go.
I do think sometimes you can tell from the bowler's reaction. Hawley was almost celebrating as she appealed. I think she knew.
So, end of the power play, 46 for 3. Middlesex were 52 without loss at the end of the power play. In terms of the runs, not too different, but that was a pretty bad over for Gloucestershire, and it might well be telling.
Very costly over. Just losing 2 wickets for nothing, really. And I think the first one will be particularly problematic because they didn't need to go for that third. They were actually batting quite nicely at that point, and as I think you said earlier, it's all about partnerships when you come to chasing a high score, and that's something that so far Gloucestershire just haven't been able to do.
So Story's still there. 15 from 11, but there you go. That over could easily have gone the right way. Think of that 3 that just wasn't there. That was a 2. The wicket doesn't fall. Kant is still out there, and you might even say that Gloucestershire have their noses in front at the end of the power play, but as it is, it's Middlesex now who will be feeling that they've got a little bit of a grip on this.
Davis to come on to bowl from the far end.
Beaut to start. Absolute beaut.
Just look at that bounce. It just kicked off. There was almost nothing you can do as a batter when you sort of set yourself to play what you expect as a normal delivery, and it just fires up at you like that.
That's where Gloucestershire will reflect that when we looked at that wagon wheel, all the runs that were scored backed up our point about them bowling wide outside the off stump in the Middlesex innings. The bounce is an issue like that. The last thing the batters want is the ball on the stumps. Very difficult to hit the ball away off the stumps when the bounce is in your mind.
And interesting, I think this is the first wrist spinner we've seen as well, and wrist spinners sometimes you can get a little bit more bounce because you do put more revs on it, and if you do hit the quite prominent seams, particularly in the white ball game, it can really fly up.
Through they come, hard throw goes in, backed up. That's well stopped. Oh, now I think she's home.
Oh, I think she was in there. That was a big dive, though. And Gloucestershire have got to watch this running. It's not how you want to lose wickets when you're in a run chase. There's just a moment of hesitation there. Oh.
Well, she wasn't. The benefit of the doubt with the batter, with the dive, I think, though. So that's so tight that...
It was so close. But with a direct hit, you just think there's always a chance.
Yep. I mean, it was very, very tight. But benefit of the doubt goes with the batter. Which is what you want to see, to be fair.
I think we've got a break because I think Melissa Story's pads have broken somehow. As she walks off holding them, she doesn't look too impressed as she has to ask for some spare pads. I wonder if in the dive and slight collision with the bowler that one of the straps has just broke. She holds them aloft, demanding new ones.
Any chance? I hope they fit, was the cry of the sub-fielder who's bringing on these pads.
Well, this has got to go up with one of the more bizarre stoppages in cricket that I've seen.
So we think that the strapping has burst on both sets of pads.
Well, I mean, you want to wear a full set, don't you? You don't want to wear one make of one and one make of the other.
Not ideal for Melissa Story, never particularly. If they're not your pads, which they're clearly not, then it's just going to be a different feel. She's going to have to put it out of her mind. Obviously, one thing you do like is familiarity of...
They look big as well. She's having to really pull the strap and tuck them in, and I wonder if these are a size or two too big for her.
I just thought somebody would have had a size similar to hers.
I'm not entirely sure they were prepared for it. I think they just had to go with what they could.
So let's see if we get any indication. So there was the yes-no hesitation that caused the problem, and then well, nothing really telling us.
Those do look big, though. They look like they're going to be a bit clunkier than the ones that she was used to, so hopefully that doesn't affect her too much. It's one thing that you won't notice when you're batting, but as soon as you set off for a run, you'll be very aware that they're not moulded perfect in the shape of your leg as pads that you wear a lot will be.
Top ball to end the elongated over. 49 for 3 after 7. It is a ground where it's possible to just keep the runs coming. There you go. Breaking them in.
I'm not sure she's entirely comfortable with those pads, but you've just got to put it out of your mind as much as you can, and maybe just have it in the back of your mind as a conversation that maybe you don't go for quite as many quick runs if they're not ones that you're fully comfortable in, because the worst thing is when they start coming undone as you're running and you can just feel them flapping around your legs. And I say this as someone who has occasionally gone to a game straight from work without my pads, and I've had exactly the same thing.
It gets through. Desperate dive from backward point, couldn't get there. Story into the 20s.
A nice shot, and again just using that width outside the off stump to push it through, and we've seen so many runs come in front of the wicket from both players so far, and that one just a little bit in front of point, and brings the rewards for Story.
And that's whipped through the onsides. And Through the gap it goes as well.
Oh, that was perfect timing and placement there. Just the two fielders so nearly were able to cut that off, but just out the middle, a little bit too full, and just pushed straight up the hill to evade those fielders out there marauning that boundary.
Going to go through. It's a direct hit would have definitely gone. Throw above the stump certainly would have been tight.
What's Crockett's highest first class score? He's got a century. Is it only his 5th first class now?
Sweetly timed. Reddy has her first boundary.
I think one thing we have seen here is if you can get in and you can start finding these gaps, as soon as you pierce the infield, it is likely to race away to the boundary. So you just need to almost not try and overhit it and just push the ball into the vacant areas and then hope that the hill and the quick outfield will help you do the rest. I wonder if we've got another lost ball down there. Oh no, they managed to have retrieved it from underneath the tree down there.
Now, in the air, and that's well stopped. Davis coming around in the deep.
Launched into the edge, short and very well parried by Davis. With got two hands to him, pushed the ball back into play.
Single to end the over, an expensive one. 16 coming off it. 65 for 3. That over will have tightened up the comparison, I'd suggest. But that's an indication where we saw in the Middlesex innings all the run scoring was to the offside. Middlesex are bowling a straighter line, which is where the runs in the onside are coming into it. And there you see 16 off that over, and all of a sudden it's tightened up again. Partnership's the key. Four wides.
Well, we saw that a little bit in the first innings as well. Anything that goes past the wicketkeeper just races away, but that will be really disappointing for the bowler, who's not really bowled too wrong there. It was just outside the line of the stumps.
Runs. A little tickle.
I'm slightly surprised that one wasn't given a wide. It sort of hung out there, must have been on the borderline there.
That's beautifully timed. Really sweet striking of the ball from Reddy.
I think this is the danger where the leg spinner's bowling it into the right-hander, almost that sort of googly, and it's just sitting up a little bit. And if you can help it on the way that it's already spinning, you're likely to get a little bit more on it than if you're trying to sort of hit against the spin in a way.
Radlett in one frame.
And it's stuck in the bush again. They've got that one back remarkably quickly, considering quite how far into the tree she was.
Not good if you're a hay fever sufferer, this ground. Straight to the fielder. Through. Eight and a half, the rates, the required, just under 11 and a half. And 10 off that over. 9 in the bye. 75 for 3, so again, if partnership gets going now for Gloucestershire, that required rate will come down. You'd imagine it'll be hovering around and just over 10 for the most part.
Well, if they can get 10 for the few overs and creep up their own run rate, then they can have a chance to accelerate. I mean, as we've seen, you only need 1 or 2 really expensive overs and things can change quite quickly in T20 cricket.
Change behind the stumps this week, as we mentioned earlier. Kibler with the gloves, which means Sprouse in the outfield. Oh, that is a wide. We'll catch it on this occasion, though. It's a 2 taken along with the wide. Nearly push back, a little bit of flight, but a little bit of purchase again off the surface and off the splice. It was nearly straight back to Dissanayake. A little shuffle to the pitch. That's a good stop in the covers, though. Stops the boundary, holds them to a single.
It's a great stop. It's absolutely flown at her there, and I think she's hurt her hand in the process.
Wrist, is it? Just bobbled up. I mean, it's the indication all the way through, as we've said with this outfield, there will be bobbles. Oh, that strays. And through the legs. Didn't cost the boundary, but what should have been 1 at very worst will be 2.
I'm not sure they're going to run many more 3s after what happened in the run out of Cant.
Moonball. Giving big airtime, that one. Now, up in the air, but safe. Long on and deep mid-wicket coming around. They'll get a couple.
So difficult when it loops up like that. You, as a batter, you've got so much time to think about it that you end up almost not doing what you intended, which is always the worst one, or it just drops straight in front of you, and with no pace on it, it's quite difficult to manoeuvre around and manipulate, especially if it's sort of at you or at the stumps. If there's a bit of width, you can sort of swing freely, but when it's on a good line and length, and no pace on it, given that it's sort of lobbed up, it's really difficult to figure out a way to carve it out for runs, or at least not anything more than 1 or 2.
That's the tightest for me on 3.
This one is the Rainbow Laces fixture. Pearson making good use of hers. No ball and a free hit.
She didn't look overly comfortable in the run up there. It almost looked like she was straining to the crease, and I think she just took one step too many and overstepped there, Pearson.
118 to win from what it'll be 60 balls. And there's the free hit signalled. You look at it like that, it looks like an awful lot. And that'll be a wide, so there'll be another free hit, and that'll get away for just the one. So the free hit will go again. This rove over has cost 3 already, and we haven't had a legitimate ball. How costly will the free hit be? Story will be desperate.
She's looking round at that leg side.
Long on's back, long off is up. We've seen her go down the ground a lot in this innings, looking to hit straight. It's a deep mid wicket as well, out towards Cow Corner. I'm wondering though, will she try and go over mid off? Nope, goes with a big pickup, and there's the first 6 of the Gloucestershire chase. That first ball of the over has cost 9 for Middlesex.
Well, that's exactly what Middlesex can't afford, is a really costly over that just brings Gloucestershire back into it, and Story did really well there to pick it up early. I think it was far too short for a free hit delivery. I think with free hits you really got to bowl it as full as possible, and even if the batter does get something on it, the chance of them being able to whip it away for 6 is a lot less, especially with the freedom that you have as a batter, knowing that you can't be caught allows you to launch the ball in the air.
Pressure on the bowler now. Pearson's got to come back here. Oh, top ball, nearly a run out now, an overthrow. Had the right to go for the throw though. Reddy nearly got herself into trouble.
Yeah, Gloucestershire have just got to watch their running between wickets. It's been a little bit tentative at times, and the moment you hesitate, you just bring that direct hit into play.
That's going to be tight. I think it just dipped. Let's see. Eyes on the umpires.
It's not been called, is it?
It's got away with it. It's just dipped below waist height.
I'm going to guess 13.75.
Back for the seconds. Oh, it's well bowled into the block hole. Little inside tickle. Inside edge. We'll get the single.
We're just having a little bit of a break here while the batters go and have some water. It is still quite warm and muggy out there today, although not the temperatures that we've seen in and around London over the last couple of days, with temperatures up at 32 even without a direct sunshine.
Hawley having a chat with Routledge. Reasonable day already. And she had a wicket to it. That gets through. Beautiful timing again from Story. That's 44.
Yeah, it just sounded so good off the bat, didn't it? Wide, and she's just middled that through the gap. I think, as we've seen, anything slightly short and wide is just going to be punished on this outfield. There's just no room for any width.
That's a good start. Holds them to a single. Well, they've just gone past the Bon Jovi, haven't they? 100 up, and they're more than halfway there. 99 from 52, still a lot of runs. Gone. Another run out. Well, she'd gone earlier, Story, but it was given not out. She's gone this time. No chance for the umpire to give the benefit of the doubt to the batter on that one.
I just wonder if she should have sent her back as soon as she did hesitate. As we watched, their Story was always a little bit behind and just, I think, knew that she wasn't going to get there. She was out by quite a long way. And that's what Gloucestershire shouldn't really have been getting themselves into. I know they've got to get every run that comes, but they really needed to build that partnership. Both the batters were looking quite good and solid there and hadn't been troubled by the bowling. It's just been slight mistakes in the field, and particularly with the run-outs. I mean, 2 run-outs in the top 4 is not really what you would think you need when you're trying to chase such a massive total. It's not a time to take risks. I think take risks in the last sort of 8 overs, but before that you just want to be getting as many runs on the board as possible, and obviously your top order batters are the ones most likely to get you there. There's a Gatorade trolley.
A little lighter on the way back, it's not bobbling as much.
It says Lords on it.
Up in the air. Oh, and put down. Backward point.
That was, other than the opening wicket, that was the opening couple, that was the first real chance that we've seen in the air. And Middlesex, if they'd taken that, I think you're starting to think they're wrapping up the game. But just a little glimmer of hope still in this for Gloucestershire.
Nicely placed, backward point. Hands off the mark.
What a way to bring up your first runs as well, with a lovely back foot cut out through backward point. Another wide ball. This has been a little bit of a costly over, although it brought the wicket. A Story that I think Middlesex will be quite happy with.
Yeah, it'll be a big frustration for Gloucestershire, those 2 run-outs. Oh, that's tight. Nothing doing, end of the over. Had a chance, had a big chance that was clipping leg, but nothing doing from the umpire. 110 for 4. Yeah, they take those 2 run-outs out of it, and you'd say Gloucestershire had a chance here, but got to get a partnership going again. Story was hitting it so well. That cut for 4, she was really stretching for it, but middled it nonetheless.
And just her whips through mid-wicket, and we saw a big 6 as well. She was really getting into the groove of things, and be really disappointed with that run out.
That's a comfy looking chair. See if we can get those in the commentary tent.
Which chair have you got your eye on? Which chair in particular of all the chairs?
But it was like a little bucket one, wasn't it, that he was sat in? Oh, ow. Now, where's that hit?
That looked painful.
Was it shoulder or helmet?
It can't have been helmet. They'd have had to call someone out. They haven't done that. Oh, back.
Oh. Right on the spine as well.
I think there's going to be a dark cricket ball shaped bruise there tomorrow.
Need a big over from somewhere, Gloucestershire. The loss of Story now is inevitably going to slow them slightly, but 88 from 45.
I wonder if they just need to think soon about getting ready on strike a little bit more, given that she's just got her iron.
They can't afford is the boundaries to dry up right now. That's again why the run-outs will be a big frustration, because ultimately this is a boundary day at Radlett, isn't it? We've seen 6s, plenty of 4s.
Yeah, the boundaries are on offer. You don't need to be pushing all the 2s. I mean, you can do it in 2s, but you're going to be exhausted.
Use of the feet again. Dragged though out to deep mid-wicket, just the single. Ends the over. Just 7 off it. It's a good over for Middlesex. It's a long way short of what Gloucestershire need.
I wonder if they just need to think about really chasing those boundaries now and starting to take more risks rather than with the running, but trying to find these gaps. Oh look, we've got more dogs on screen for
It's
you.
like Crufts at Radlett, isn't it?
It's great.
How well behaved they are as well. No fighting.
No,
Dogs are doing alright as well.
That's the women's chairs. So if there's one of them, somebody stands up for us and women's room. One woman's facing back of the chairs.
Let's go, Dave!
There you go. There's a good example of how difficult it is. Davis was watching that as best she could all the way. And got back for 2. She was so determined that it wasn't going to get through for 4.
Let's go, Dave!
I wonder if we're going to get to a point where Gloucestershire need to take more risks and start trying to access areas of the ground where the boundaries aren't protected, even if it means playing slightly less comfortable shots, because as we both said, this is going to be one if they're going to get close, they're going to have to do it in boundaries. You can't run everything.
Oh, well, the intent is clear from Reddy. Oh, through. Welcome boundary, first for a couple of overs.
2.5 overs since Melissa fell. 3.5.
That was nicely dug out. First boundary since the 12th over, just pushed into the gap. I think that's what I was saying. You really need to be targeting these gaps rather than hitting into the leg side where you got a couple of sweepers, unless you can sort of pierce the gap there, or trying to send it a little bit finer where it's the boundary is less protected.
Up in the air. And gone. Routledge underneath it. Made it look easy. Holds on comfortably. So Ready departs for 29 with a may well go. The last chance for Gloucestershire.
That was a good catch from Routledge. She just watched it all the way there. And it can be a little bit difficult when it goes straight up into the cloud and you're trying to pick it out, but she held on well while moving backwards as well. Not the easiest.
Yeah, Middlesex will feel they're close now. 78 from 37, winning their first 3 games in this group. Defeat at Glamorgan last up. Looking to get back to winning ways here. A 4th win will give them a strong position at the top of this group and a chance of making its finals day.
Straight to finals day, yeah. Top 2. Top 2 straight to finals day, yeah.
Wide signals.
Ready, steady. Go for a 6.
Kev's just running through all its cricketing name puns.
Not for Belcher, I should add. That's a beautiful ball.
Burped off the surface through some gloves.
125 for 5 after 14.
Is that a new dog?
That is a new dog. No, that's a new. That is
Yeah, it's a new
definitely a
dog.
new dog.
That's not the old fella.
Everyone's bringing their dogs out to Radlett this afternoon.
Nicely stroked.
That's the 5th dog in that. That's not. That wasn't the old fella. The old fella was really distinctive. Yeah. Like a mane around his neck. Particularly old. Is he going to survive the shot? I managed to come see off the first ball. Something which is 2 wickets.
Some drift on that for Davis. They're looking for 2 here. And they're back.
And if anyone is in any doubt about how dry the surface is, you can see the huge puff of dust as the fielder dived down to stop the ball. Dust just kicked up. It's not a lot of moisture out there to slow the ball down.
Oh, it goes up in the air. And Belcher's gone. Comfortable catch at cover. Had to keep going. Get going and keep going.
She didn't really have a choice, did she, Belcher? She should have had to come out and try and chase these runs as quickly as possible, and in that she's just top-edged one straight in the air, and a good catch.
Yeah, a big swing. Belcher won't really want to see a repeat of that one.
Belcher won't want to see a repeat of that one.
128 for 6.
What was yours? Well, Dan was laughing because he missed mine. Is it you on duty?
So Dolman, opening bowler, out to join. Hearn in the middle. They've just got to keep swinging now. 74 off 32. So the requirement, well over 12 and over now.
Yeah, it's a big ask for any batter coming out there. You got 2 new batters, really. No set player to sort of play off or ask to take on the brunt of the load. They've really got to both go for it from the start.
Now that's close, is it? No, there was a little shuffle, but she must have started deep in her crease, Dolman.
She looks pretty aggrieved that that wasn't given a wide. It was quite difficult to hit.
Up in the air for a moment, but short of the mid-off. Top ball to end the over. Just the 3 off it and a wicket. That could well be the final decisive stroke of this game for Middlesex. It's going to take something quite brilliant, even at a high-scoring ground here at Radlett from here. 128 for 6.
We're seeing a change of helmet by the Gloucestershire batter. I wonder if one wasn't quite the right size. Seeing a change of helmet, change of pads, almost everything so far from Gloucestershire in this run chase.
Sweeper back, so it's just a single. They've got a back that one big over will at least tighten it up, give them a chance of getting close.
But they need that this one or the next one, really. They can't wait too long to try and go big.
There's the attempt in this over. Radlett again, carbon copy of the lasts. Dolman departs. The 7th falls for Gloucestershire.
Yeah, Gloucestershire doing exactly what they had to do, but when you haven't had that time to get your eye in and the ball's not quite there, you end up reaching for it, and she's just hasn't been able to hit it past the infielder there. Routledge taking another good catch, just moving a few steps behind her, and yeah, Gloucestershire are in real trouble now, and I'm not sure there's a way they're going to get out of this.
No, it needs something quite special here. It needs a couple of big uns. Ahern has 12 from 9. Back check. All is well.
You can see why. That looks like a huge bat. Oh, she's come out with intent.
Mark first ball. Oh, now there's the bobble again. I mean, I imagine that would have been part of Gloucestershire's chat. We talked about the run-outs. Try and put pressure on the field as it is a bobbling surface.
Yeah, but I think you've got to watch the pickup. If the pickup's clean, you can't really risk it.
Ooh, that one really slips out.
I mean, Middlesex ran hard, but there was no chance of a run out, really. It's just the one catch, or two catches that were put down.
Rather scooped into the onside. It might give them the chance, thinking two. They only take the single, though. Turn there.
Two fluffy ones. There's only two fluffy ones there.
Again, backing up. She's quite clear in what she wants to do here. Just a single, though.
I think that's where we saw Middlesex turn these sort of singles into twos, and Gloucestershire have tried to run hard, but been a little bit found wanting. 2 run-outs, probably costing them a chance to turn this into a exciting down-to-the-wire run chase.
.17 and over now is that requirement. Needs a massive over quickly just to give them some sort of outside shot.
Speaking of outside shot.
And gone. 14 from 12 for Ahern. It was her time to get going. She couldn't. She had to start.
And a good catch. That was the best of the catches from Routledge. She had to get really low to that, and sometimes those can just die on you, or you end up awkwardly diving forward. But she watched that all the way straight into her hands, and never in doubt. And I don't see Gloucestershire getting anywhere close from here, given the wickets that they've lost and the fact that all momentum seems to have stalled after that Story run out. Seems to be the big turning point in the chase.
2 to go. Gloucestershire in only their 3rd match, bottom of the table. Sometimes look at a situation like this and say, well, limiting the net run rate defeat might be key, but actually Gloucestershire desperately need the points.
I think at this point you try and just bat normally as you would. I don't think you go chasing the win anymore. I think you just try and get as many runs as you can and limit the net run rate. I think once you're 8 down, there's not too much else you can do, really.
So Phillips charged with taking this on. Oh dear.
I'm not quite sure what she was trying to do there, but that is how the opening batter got out.
It was indeed. Better looking shot. Through it goes. Radlett will have to pick herself up. Deep cover coming around. Sproul.
I was going to say, that's one where there is 3. Those corners down there are actually quite a lot further away than you think.
Saw a Gloucestershire men's match at Merchant Taylor's School against Middlesex. Gloucestershire hit 75 off the last 3 overs. It was a ridiculous spell of hitting. There's the latest attempt here. And Radlett is lining them up now at mid-off. Daniels departs. Second for Patel. Gloucestershire lose their 9th.
I'm not sure she needed to charge at that in quite that fashion, having watched so many other people fall victim of it. I wonder if she wouldn't have been better just coming and playing it along the ground and jogging through for a single.
So bird it'll be. As Middlesex look to finish this off, it could be quite a handsome margin of victory.
It'll be good for Middlesex as they continue their push towards finals day at the end of July.
Wantage Road. Which is where I'll be heading in a few minutes' time. Days 2, 3 and 4 of the men's game against Northamptonshire. Taking another win for Middlesex women on the road with me. Nice stroke. Oh, goodness me, that could have been nasty. Three overs to go, 138 for 9. Game's been up for a while for Gloucestershire, so a few smiles out there. They'll still be thinking, it seems, eyeing up gaps in the field, but really and truly the chances of securing the victory long gone for Gloucestershire.
Just what you don't want as Gloucestershire as well, seeing the opening bowler come back on as they look to try and push and get as many runs on the board as they can.
Anyone on the chopper?
Helicopter passes overhead. It's always a busy ground here for trains, planes as well, like aircraft. There's an airfield nearby. It's a nice start to the over from Patel. Line and length.
Let's go, Son!
Crackers. Must have been in the 90s by now. No.
Wide signalled. Big in swing on that. Nearly pushed up to Routledge.
Oh, and that's hit her quite uncomfortably, I think, in the leg as she stopped that one. She just seemed to pause for a minute. All smiles though.
Definitely 4, isn't that?
4 catches for Routledge. I think the chat in the field there is that she probably had a chance at that one, but for a bit of hesitation.
Well, she'll want 5 catches, won't she? I mean, at this point.
Will she have a chance at this? No, she won't. Good from Bird.
I'm still surprised that any of them are playing that shot, but she's played it really nicely down the ground, just got that straight enough and over Routledge's head. But so many of the Gloucestershire batters have got out trying to do that exact same thing and ended up just spooning the ball almost straight to Routledge, who is definitely still in the game here.
Bowls. Going for the Yorker, and again, if you miss the Yorker, miss it long, not short, so it's not in the slot. Low full toss.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I was just that's fast. Is it 50?
Well, 50 up. 50 for 9, which I think they'll need one more run to go past the bonus point possibility for Middlesex.
That was nicely carved out through backward point there for Gloucestershire. Haven't really seen them hit the boundary for a while, but the last couple of deliveries they just look a little bit freer.
It's still shy of 25%. It's still a lot, so one more run.
One more run. Let's get to that 25% of the target mark, which means Middlesex would not get a bonus point. Can Davis do it? And there's the single. That'll be the 25% gone. So no bonus point for Middlesex. They've really let anything go that they'll think we should have had the 25, but the bonus point.
New dog. Yeah, possibly a puppy.
Reverse attempted. Sweetly struck again, but long on back, so just a single. Helm's on number 11, isn't it? Possibly the best number 11 we've ever had in our history.
Gloucestershire's just tapping and running here as they look to take the game into the final over. Some big swipes across the line, but nothing's really being timed perfectly, and just a bit too angled towards the two fielders there on the leg side boundary.
Now, anybody underneath it? Oh dear. There's been a swirling one today, as a couple of times we've seen the ball bounce past a fielder. Patel on this occasion.
The worst is down there though, when you've got to, not only do you miss it, but you've then got to walk into a tree to retrieve it. That one just spun past sprawling Patel.
Well, as soon as she went for the catch and didn't make it, then that was when she was in trouble. And to be fair, the reason that she's got herself in trouble is because she did bravely try to go for the catch and keep going for it. A bit of disappointment shown in the field there, but oh yeah, cut off that. That's off 19 over 21. So they have to bring up. Missed the cut off here, so extra fielder's going to have to come up. But yeah, I think that one, like I say, Patel had gone for the catch. She had two choices. One was to go for the catch. If she did, it was always going to be a risk of a boundary. Or two, it was forget the catch and just stop the ball. And I think at this stage...
What's interesting is, despite this discussion with the umpires, Middlesex still have 4 players out.
Try and get absolute confirmation the cut-off's been missed, because there have been a lot of delays in this innings.
Seemingly not.
Edge short of the fielder though. Get 3 for 1.
Yeah, the throw not helping Middlesex on that occasion. As soon as the wicketkeeper has to jump, it just allows you that extra second to get back in the crease.
Was there bass involved? I think. Oh no, gone. Hawley wraps it up. Thank you, umpire. 161 all out it is. 40-run victory for Middlesex. A comprehensive one here at Radlett.
Yeah, great win by Middlesex. Keeps their winning streak going, and Gloucestershire, as soon as they lost those early wickets, were never really in the chase. Solid win by Middlesex, and they'll be very pleased with the way that they batted and put on 200, which was always going to be a difficult chase. Even here at Radlett, which is quite a high-scoring ground, it was just too much for Gloucestershire in the end, who gave away a little bit too much with their bowling, and Middlesex were there to just capitalise on every opportunity.
Not quite 1 foot in wanted rows just yet for Middlesex, but they're certainly making big strides towards it, and the manner of the performances, I think, so far as well, will be particularly pleasing.
Yeah, they've just looked so comfortable out there. Even if there has been an upset by a loss of a wicket, they've managed to retain it, and good squad rotation as well. There've been a few changes, and every sort of setback or potential setback has just been absorbed by Middlesex so easily, and they look a very strong contender for finals day.
Well, next one for Middlesex women, it's double header in Sussex in 2 weeks' time, and they'll be looking to keep this run rolling. There's the tail of the tape. Trussler 90, the highest score by a Middlesex batter in T20 cricket. The second highest score by a Middlesex batter in T20 cricket. Radlett with an unbeaten 80 from 58, both going past the score of Sophia Dunkley all those years ago. And the highest total against a fellow first-class side for Middlesex as well in T20 cricket. The 234 against Huntingdonshire still stands as the highest in all T20s, but 201 for one. It's another record, and it's also, I think, another marker laid down by Middlesex. Sonny Twig, thanks for your company today. We'll be back with you at some point soon. I'll be on the road now to go and catch up with life at Wantage Road already. So Middlesex women will very much hoping that they're heading to Wantage Road at some point as well for finals day. But Middlesex men action continuing. You can pick that up on the Middlesex website as well, and tune in to see how they are getting on. But from the women's match here at Radlett, though, it's a good night from us all on the stream team as Middlesex wrap this one up by 40 runs.